smart member.
Member?
Yeah, I mean, Kilmar Obrego Garcia is one of our members, Smart Local 100 out of Maryland. All of our unions are standing with him. We believe in the worker solidarity. He's an apprentice with us. He's a family-loving person. We're absolutely disgusted about what's happening with the Trump administration. We will not tolerate it. It is not acceptable. We're calling on Congress to do something. We want our union brother back in this country.
At the airport, we're just, like, we're not treated well, you know. They don't care about us at the airport. Like, we're just, like, worker ants to them, you know. And just the folks that try to, like, be human with us, they get removed, you know. We're treated, like, just poorly, you know. There's no other way to put it than just poorly.
You think they want slaves?
I think if it was still legal, they would. I think if it was still legal, they would.
And what do you think of Trump's telling the federal workers that they don't have bargaining rights?
What a scumbag. Just scumbag move. I don't get it, man. Like, it's just, this is the land of the free, you know? Like, and it seems like the freedoms are being stripped away. I don't get it. You know, it just doesn't really make a lot of sense.
How many workers have lost their union representation under Trump?
I think over 100,000. I don't even know, actually. It's a lot. It's a lot. Oh, and then the question is, like, what does it mean to lose representation? Because a lot of people are still voluntarily paying their dues and organizing outside of the, like, kind of recognized union. And then the whole, it's all in the courts too, right? Like these kind of like unilateral actions to take away people's union rights, that's being fought in court, so it might not stand up, right?
Wasn't that Project 2025 to get rid of unions?
Definitely part of 2025 is to get rid of unions, to, you know, strip away all kinds of rights and turn this country into, you know, a more like fascist, like religious kind of society, far-right society, right? So.
Aaron Wright, ILWU Local 10.
So Aaron, we're here at a May Day rally in Oakland, and you're a member of the ILWU and have been working in that union for many years. And the tariffs, what are they going to do to you and the rest of the working class in this country?
Well, the tariffs are insane. The whole colonial model is to get countries that are poorer to sell you resources, and you process them and make manufactured goods and then sell it back to them. There's no way a country that's selling us ore and bananas is going to be able to have the same trade balances. They're not going to buy as much from us as we buy from them. Can't happen. So basing the tariffs on the trade imbalance is taxing these countries, poor countries, for a ludicrous reason. Like, that's the structure of the whole thing. It's insanity. He wants to put $1 million charge or even more on every Chinese ship that comes. I mean, the whole idea ostensibly is to create manufacturing and bring back jobs to the United States, but you cannot do that overnight, right? You have to build the factories. You have to train the workers. You have to create.
Aren't they they're getting rid of workers, getting rid of immigrants?
No, they want to do AI. If you go to San Francisco and you look at those Waymo cars, that's a peek in the door to the future. That's the death of all of us. Robots. That's what's coming. And it's just to get you used to it. Ooh, I got to ride in a robot car. No, that's the end of you. Humanity has to stand against AI, technology. If they get your money and your ID on this, you won't be able to go anywhere unless they let you. Because you won't be able to buy anything, you won't be able to show your ID unless they let you. It's already happening. This is not conspiracy theory. This is not craziness. It's happening already. In China, when people want to protest, they'll cut off their ability to go catch a train to protest. They'll cut off their money. Look out, it's coming.
What can the working class do about it?
The only way we will even have a fighting chance is for people to come back from the fringes, stop focusing on the far right or the far left or ideologies that are not worker-based, not economic-based for working people and families, and have a common mindset. We're working class people. We need to look out for our interests. And what are those? First of all, to protect our rights. Free speech, due process, you name it, habeas corpus. I mean, all of that's being trampled on right at this moment. then obviously supporting workers in their struggles wherever they go, fighting against this technology, the future that they want to bring in, the AI, the digital IDs, the vaccine passports, the robots. They're building armies of robots right now. You go online, search some robot stuff on YouTube or something, you'll see.
What's going to stop? What's going to stop it? Because technology, you can't stop it. Who owns and who controls the technology is the question.
I don't know if it's going to be the looming nuclear war. They're obviously heading to World War III. There's almost, I mean, Biden administration was launching missiles into Russia, the most heavily armed nuclear state in the world. So that's just insane, right? Just like, but it's like our leaders on both sides are just, they're not leading, they're insane. It's like they're bringing it down on purpose. Trump's with his tariffs, it's going to kill the economy. How's it going to affect longshore? In next month, this place is going to go woo down. There's no question.
What's going to stop it? General strike?
That's the only thing you can do. That's where you bring the ends to the middle. We all have a common ideology. You know, don't worry about too much. We got to focus on worker power, support worker initiatives, and stop AI. AI is the death of us all. It's coming, and people, everything they do is just to get you a little bit used to it. But it's called turnkey totalitarianism. They have it all set up around you, and then one day they turn it on, and you're done. You're in a cage, electronic cage. You won't be able to talk to anybody. You'll talk to AI. That's what Doge is about. All of the things that actually did get cut, the workers and stuff, they want to use AI in those workers' place. And if you look, a lot of the stuff that they cut, they turned around and refunded. Whatever they wanted to fund, they turned around and refunded most of it. So a lot of it was just an illusion. So it's nuts.
What's the ILWU dealing? How are they dealing with it?
I mean, we're working. That's a complicated question.
Well, the ILWU in the past history, it was formed out of a general strike. I mean, how are they dealing with this crisis? Because you're immediately being affected. Longshore workers are going to be dramatically affected with the shutdown of cargo. Is there any preparation?
You look at what's going on, like say, take Palestine, right? Take it Gaza. I mean, it's the worst thing you could imagine. Like you grew up hearing about Nazi Germany, how bad things are, right? Where then, oh, how horrible it was, what happened to the Jewish people then. And it's like, hey guys, it's happening. Like, wait a minute. Like, this is what we've been preparing for all our lives. This is what we learned about all our lives, and no one's doing anything. Some of my fellow Local 10 people tried putting a resolution to the international to shut down cargo that was going to Israel. Just like the valiant Houthis are fighting the Israelis and not letting their ships go through the Red Sea as long as the genocide continues. And you know, Trump said he wasn't going to bomb them. He's bombing them. So he jumped right in where Biden left off. Biden bombed the Houthis 1,000 times, and he's racking up count right now himself. So he's no better.
Okay, thanks.
The only reason why he won is he did campaign on an anti-war. You know? That's one thing I'd like to say. Anti-war is number one. Right? If you're not against the military-industrial complex, the most polluting entity in the world, the most money suck of this entire country, they want to spend $1 trillion. That shows you how false Doge is. They want to up it another $150 billion to $1 trillion. That's insanity.
My name's Martha Cool, and I'm here today as a worker on International Workers' Day, standing up for all of our rights.
And Trump's threat to destroy Medicaid and others, what would that mean to nurses and healthcare workers in California nationally?
So I'm a nurse who worked at Children's Hospital in Oakland for over 40 years, and almost all the patients that we care for there would be severely affected by any cut in Medicaid. for Medicare.
So what would it mean to these patients?
Well, patients wouldn't get the care that they need. They would delay care. They could actually die prematurely. And as a nurse who took care of kids with cancer, if you delay care, it has severe consequences.
And there's a lot of concern about oligarchies, fascism. Do you think we have a fascist government?
Yes.
What should labor do about it?
Labor should stand up for everyone's right, worker or non-worker, anyone who needs care, anyone who needs anything in our society should be cared for. We should live in a just society.
My name is Patty Prunyaber, and I am not a federal worker, but I am a lawyer, and I am working with federal workers who have been terminated. They've lost their jobs without any reason for it. They've been told it's due to inadequate performance when they've had positive reviews, and they have not been given the notice that they're required. And the most important thing is that the services they provide, whether it's staffing Social Security offices or providing information to the United States Geological Services where we need crop information or soil information, and we're losing that expertise. They're walking out the door, and it's a tragedy that we can stop.
And Trump says that he has the right to do this. Apparently he's violating the Constitution. How is he going to be stopped?
He has lost 71% of the cases that have been filed have entered some form of preliminary or permanent relief, stopping him from these illegal actions. They're in violation of the Civil Service Act, they're in violation of workers' rights, and they're not legal. So he's just wrong.
And how many workers are we talking about?
I don't know the number nationwide, but it's over 100,000.
How many in the Bay Area?
I don't know the answer to that.
It's over 100,000 workers have lost their jobs. And apparently they can't even get unemployment because they were fired for cause. Some of these workers are not even able to get unemployment.
We're advising all workers who have been terminated to file for unemployment. They have a basis for contesting that. There's no record of cause, and it's a very high standard to meet to be denied unemployment. It has to be intentional misconduct. And these workers should get unemployment until they get their jobs back.
It's an International Workers' Day. It's a day to celebrate workers and the power of workers. And right now, workers are under attack under the Trump administration. So we're here to make our voices heard that we're not going to accept what they're currently doing to us.
Okay, thank you.
I'll add that it's terrible what he's doing to the federal workforce, including the Postal Service, which has been a backbone for so many communities for decades now.
Wendy Bloom.
Are you a nurse?
Yes, I'm already 38 years at Children's Hospital in Oakland.
And what's going on today, May Day? Trump has said he wants to get rid of Medicaid. He wants to destroy a lot of programs. How is that going to affect you and other nurses and your patients?
At Children's Hospital, even though it's a private nonprofit, we're associated with UCSF. Our patients, we have a huge population that's on Medi-Cal, so obviously that would have a huge impact on our funding, and it could harm our patients and our programs. And our staffing. I mean, everything is connected. I mean, the things they're doing to public health, cutting back on research. I take care of kids with cancer. They want to cut, research on new drugs for kids with cancer. They're slowing down vaccine development. That was a new one that RFK came out with. All of that hurts our patients and our community.
The UC regents and management apparently are attacking the workers. They spend millions of dollars on you.
Children's is UCSF Benioff, Oakland, and they are about to merge us fully with the hospital, and our contract, they want to merge our union contract, CNA, at the hospital, which is over 80 years old, into the UC contract, which is much younger. There's a number of takeaways on the table. We just had an action at the hospital today. NUHW, the NUHW, the other union there that represents a lot of other workers there, their whole union would be merged into AFSCME, and then the lab techs too would be merged into a new union, it's going to affect all of us, and it's going to have an impact on the hospital and the care that the patients receive. Because if longtime workers don't stay at the hospital, it really changes the culture. And we have people, like I've been there almost 38 years, Martha was there 40. It's like it has an impact on people if the working conditions, the fact that our schedules, there's a lot of 12-hour shifts that you see. We have 8-hour shifts. It's like changing the culture. As a resident of California, it's a public institution, and I find it kind of strange that the UC system is an insurer, a health insurer. They're in the business of providing health care, and it's not just teaching. Like, it is a teaching hospital, but now they're also an insurer. So they're making decisions, they're buying up hospitals, they're making decisions that's going to affect patient care and workers based on a bottom line.
Yeah, my name's Rich. I'm a janitor. I work for this office. I've been a member of the APWU since 1997. I've been a total active member since 2003, and I'm currently maintenance trustee. I'm here to help preserve the attempts at the privatization that the most spurious elements are trying to do for the Postal Service.
So Joe, what's happening and why are you here on May Day?
I'm here because I'm a federal employee and I care about my job and the work that we do, and my coworkers. They all do really important work, and we're part of a union, but they're apparently trying to dismantle our union, shut it down, not let us have bargaining rights. So that's no good.
And the EPA, what would happen if there was no EPA?
No EPAs, no clean air, no clean water.
So it would be detrimental to people in this country.
Oh yeah.
So they believe in self-regulation. The corporations should regulate themselves?
Yeah.
How would they regulate themselves?
Oh, I'm not so sure about that.
No, they won't. That's it.
You think that's why they want to dismantle the EPA?
That's probably a big part of it, yeah.
What has been the reaction of federal workers where you work? I mean, what are their concerns? Just panic or fear?
We're all just very depressed and scared. Every day you check your email and you don't know what to expect. And some of us go to the elevators and swipe a badge, and sometimes it says access denied just because the system sucks. But we're always like, oh, are we fired? But it's usually just a glitch with the elevators. But it's rough right now.
And Project 2025, that says that they're against public workers. They want to privatize public workers. They want to get rid of unions, set up company unions. What do you think about the direction that they're going in?
I don't think it's good. Yeah, I don't think it's good. And I think we keep showing up every day trying to change it, and people are holding the line. They really are.
So people want to fight and keep their jobs and do what they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not so much fighting. We're just showing up to our job, doing it, as trying to just keep doing what we already do.
And people who have environmental problems, contamination, issue of toxins in the workplace and in the environment, do they have reason to be concerned about what's happening with the EPA?
Yeah, very much. Yeah, especially our most vulnerable people, like our tribes and our marginalized communities, are very much at risk of making the pollution even worse and having even less access than they already do.
Uranium mine cleanup on tribal land.
Yeah, the sites won't be cleaned up anymore if we're gone. So was already said, the most vulnerable folks will continue to be screwed over, and then it'll eventually filter into the rest of us, because clean air and water, we all need it. Doesn't matter if you're rich, poor, Republican, or Democrat. We all still need clean water and air and earth at the end of the day.
And what is the union doing? What union represents you?
There's a couple different unions. We kind of coordinate together and try to just do what we can. I'm in the ESC. It's a very small union, so we don't have a lot of representation. That's why we kind of coordinate with NTU and AFGE.
You think there should be a united front of all public workers in this country? Seems like they're all under attack.
Yeah, sure. Oh yeah, I have cousins in Virginia, and they feel the same way. Different agencies, but they're under attack and they feel it sucks.
Right now, we're UPT is one of the unions for UCSF. They're on strike today. So first of all, we're out here supporting them. But we're also having a Black May Day. We feel like the black issues are never addressed when it comes to these labor events. So this is our first official Black May Day. And so we're going to have community and public sector workers working together so that we can jointly make sure that San Francisco is a safe place for all black people, whether they work for the city or they don't.
My name is Cheryl Thornton, and I'm here today at our first annual Black May Day here in San Francisco at San Francisco General Hospital. The reason that we wanted to have a Black May Day on International Workers' Day, because we think it was important to represent all workers here in San Francisco. And there has been a structural and systemic problem in San Francisco around racism and black workers, which has led to disproportionate discipline. It's led to gentrification of the black community. It's led to privatization of public jobs. So we're here today to let the public know that black workers are still here in San Francisco and that we need equity and equality like everyone else.
And the privatization, contracting out, how has that affected black workers?
How's that what?
Affected black workers.
So black workers are the last to be hired and the first to be hired. And so when these jobs are contracted out, we have past history has shown us, like in 2009, they were the first to be laid off, black workers. They went to those classifications where they were in those tracks where they were heavily black employment, and those workers were laid off. So we're concerned about that again, that the privatization of public work will lead to low salaries, not livable wages, which will fuel the gentrification even more.
And they want to cut off Medicaid. How would that affect San Francisco General Hospital and other facilities?
So San Francisco General is a public hospital. Their main source of revenue is Medi-Cal for the Department of Public Health. So if Medi-Cal, like if the ACA, the Affordable Care Act, is cut in any way, it's going to be hard to service people. In the past, before ACA, every year, the budget was in the red, and then they were threatening layoffs, and we would have to find money, so clinics weren't closed, services weren't cut. So people need their health care, and what we really need in this country is universal health care for all.
We're here in front of ILWU Local 10. I'm with Trent Willis, who's on the International Executive Board. Trent, there's a crisis going on with the trade war. Where's the ILWU stand on that?
Well, we just came out with a statement of policy last week, making it clear that we were opposed to the tariffs that are being imposed by President Trump and the Trump administration. I think the statement that we put out is pretty self-explanatory. It's very detailed, and it explains exactly what the reasons we oppose.
Is this an attack on the entire working class, this trade war?
I believe so, yes.
And what should be done about it?
Well, first of all, the working people in this country have to get educated and understand what is happening first. And then there needs to be a decision made of a movement forward. I don't know exactly what that movement is at this point when I'm talking to you, but there definitely has to be something has to be done.
You think there needs to be a general strike in this country to stop Trump, stop fascism, and you think that we're having fascism in this country?
Well, I mean, that's obvious, as far as a general strike, I can't answer that right now. I don't know what working people should do until they get educated on what's actually happening. I think there's so much misinformation going around. There's so many efforts to sabotage the truth coming out that working people don't have any idea what's happening. It's almost like they're going to have to learn the hard way.
Well, Trump said that you're not going to be able to buy $30. You can only buy $2 this Christmas year because there are no goods coming in from Asia. What is that attitude?
That's ridiculous. And he'll say anything to promote his ideals and the things that are coming out of Project 2025 and all of that crazy lunatic stuff. And we just have to be prepared to combat that as working people.
Gennaro LeVar Baltrip, Local 10, rank and file member.
And what does May Day mean to you? You're out here, there's an attack on labor with the trade war, with the union busting. You think May Day is connected to that?
May Day is connected to a lot because May Day is International Labor Day. So this is our day to be working people and working class people and represent the working class people in our struggles and our fight in our community and in our society.
And do you think people are waking up in this country? I think there are more May Days happening in the United States than have happened maybe since 2006 when 3 million, mostly immigrant workers, marched.
May Day is growing in the United States. It's growing because people are realizing that we are working class people that need to come together and stand together so that we can have our issues heard and addressed.
And the raids that are going on by the ICE and the attack on democratic rights, the union busting against federal employees, they want to break unions. What's going to stop it?
What's going to stop it? Is humanity going to stop it? The humanity in a person to respect labor. That's what's going to stop it. We got to get to the humanism in people, to the people in their mind and their thoughts, and make them rationalize. How can you have a whole society without anything and you want to sit at the top? That don't make no sense. It don't make no sense to be only certain families have all of the claim of wealth and fame and all this stuff like that, and we're over here and we're working hard and trying to survive and put food on the family's tables. Man, you got to respect labor. Respect it.
And President Trump has launched this trade war, blaming the Chinese and saying there are going to be tariffs. How is that affecting ILWU?
That's affecting ILWU tremendously because a lot of our transit comes from and consumers and our ships, they come from Asia. And things that come from Asia is needed within the United States at this time because we don't have the plants anymore established to create our own. So right now we're getting a lot of our goods from Asia. So that's going to affect us tremendously if they decide that they're not sending the ships with the goods because they can't pay the tariff. Then what we going to do? We going to open up more factories and have more labor oppression because we don't want to have unions?
And, Trump and his supporters were the billionaires were in favor of sending capital to China to get rid of unions. For slave labor in China or cheap labor.
America has a double standard at times because they still use the 13th Amendment to enslave folks anyway when they're in prison and stuff like that, and they're giving slave labor prices for work and labor. We just passed a law in California to pay those people a little bit better. So what's going on? I mean, you can't point the finger if you was pointing the finger at you first. America was built on getting things from people for nothing.
In the prison labor industry in this country, also
industrial complexes. Man, it's a lot going on that we got to represent on this May Day. We got a lot of issues that's going on in this society.
25 May Day in front of ILWU Local 10. That's right. You're not working today. What's going on?
My name is George Crampton Glasanos. My registration is 10-2200. I'm a B-man here at Longshoreman Local 10. We shut down the ports today in solidarity with workers all over the world. We're going through some dark times, and it's important for us to stand up for the workers, show the higher powers that we hold the power, move cargo and stuff. So May Day is a great day for all of us to get together and handle union business and stand in solidarity with those fighting for their lives around the world.
And Trump has issued this declaration for a trade war. It's hurting a lot of countries around the world, Canada, working people's Africa, many countries. You think it's going to be hurting working people in this country?
Yeah, we're the first people that are going to experience the effects of this. You know, it's not going to be Trump, and it's not going to be the CEOs of these corporations. They got enough money to hold out for a long time, and you know, a lot of our membership, you know, they're going to start feeling the effects of this in the next week or two. You know, we got families to feed and you know, houses and.
Well, Trump says he's going to get factories and industry back in this country with the trade war. Do you believe that that's going to happen?
No, you know, it's there's no way you're going to bring back any type of industry in this country, and you know, the industry we do have here is, you know, is going to feel the brunt, the firsthand effects of this trade war. So.
And how are longshoremen going to be affected? Are you being affected, longshoremen?
You know, I haven't had a day off since Easter Sunday, so, and we will feel the effects of it. We've been staying busy, but you know, as soon as it starts drying up, you're going to see, you know, people get desperate. You know, a lot of people got, you know, they live in check to check. We're longshoremen, we make good money, but let's go. It's you know, they got us right where they want them, right where they want us, you know, and everyone's locked into car payments and house payments and all that type of crap, and you know, it's even though we make a good living down here, it ain't enough. So.
And Trump has also attacked unions, federal workers, busted their unions, raids, ICE, attacking immigrant workers. They're telling truck drivers they have to speak English.
Yeah.
What do you think about this whole?
You know, it's a dictatorship, you know, and all that racist shit that, you know, with the immigrants and scaring people and stuff. He's hurting himself with all that. So.
Is this fascism?
Yeah, it's 100% fascism.
What's going to stop it?
It's going to take the workers stand up and you know, get rid of this guy. Yeah.
Think it'll happen?
I hope so.
It seems like he's uniting a lot of people.
Yeah, you know, I feel like a lot of people are starting to realize that, you know, maybe they made a big mistake getting this guy in, and you know how, you know, it'll be interesting to see once they start getting affected, you know, by his policies. Oh, maybe this wasn't the smartest idea getting this guy in here.
And some unions, Sean Fain of the UAW and, you know, Sean Bryan, are supporting the trade war. Why would they do that?
I have no idea, you know, and it don't make no sense to me.
New York, and we're here celebrating International Workers' Day because of the historical testament to independent workers' action to fight for basic democratic rights that we have today, like the 8-hour workday, for example, but other ones that are under attack, like the basic rights of immigrants, the basic rights of trans people, black people, etc.
And there have been some calls for a general strike by Sarah Nelson, the head of the Air Flight Attendants Union. There are workers who are facing existential crisis, the attacks on union busting the federal workers. What do you think is necessary for workers in this country who want to fight back?
Well, first, what's necessary for workers in this country is to break from the parties that are keeping them from mobilizing independently, like the Democrats and the Republicans. They need their own political party to fight for their interests, and they need to be organized, every single worker, so that when there is a general strike, it could be effective and it could be one unified punch.
You think there should be one now?
Should there be one now? If it were organized in the right way, sure. But if it were sporadic, I'm not sure.
And the role of the AFL-CIO, they've been supporting the Democratic Party, and unions have been continuing to give money to the Democrats. Where has that led?
I think it's led to their stagnation. As I said, I think workers have their own power to mobilize, and currently it's being chained to these parties. It needs to be unchained.
And how is that going to happen?
Hopefully with people like us and others who are really disillusioned with the ways that things are going now. And I think so far people have been told that they need to rely on parties like the Democrats or Republicans, but by people joining unions, engaging in their unions, trying to mobilize their union brothers and sisters, we could take steps closer to breaking from capitalist parties.
It's International Workers' Day, so in the United States, we don't celebrate May Day really like they do around the world, but we need to come out to this. I think this is important because Trump is saying tariffs on this, that, the other. Some people say, well, it's just piecemeal and he's lying, but it's part of an overall agenda. And Biden has called it the oligarchy, the rule by the few, and we are creeping towards what has been called fascism, really is what it is we're going towards that. And if we don't do something now, we're going to find ourselves in that situation, basically. And the tariffs are, the firing of federal workers, deportations, is all part of an agenda, is all part of a plan. Some people are calling it the rule of the oligarchy, but it is a kind of creeping towards fascism.
And what should workers and unions do about it?
Well, we should stand up for each other, and we should have some kind of a concerted understanding of this, and not just look at it piecemeal, like one tariff here, one firing there. It's all part of so we need a program.
And how are longshoremen being affected by this trade war?
Well, we already the tariffs, for one thing, and
has it affected the port?
It's going to be. The trade, the work will be going down soon, and it may affect our hiring hall eventually. That hasn't happened yet, but it may.
So it's a threat to the union.
It's the threat to the rights of the union and the stability and the strength of the union.
And there is no Labor Party. You think workers need a political alternative?
That is a big question in and of itself, Steve. I'd say, yeah, we need an alternative, but we need to understand that we need to be educating ourselves on things like automation, global warming, and how our industry fits into these things, and have a broader understanding, and not just looking at it piecemeal like we always do. These things are all part of an agenda. A Labor Party could be part of that. I'll put it to you that way.
Jack Heyman, retired member of ILWU Local 10.
And we're here today on May Day in front of ILWU Local 10. There's a war going on. There's genocide going on in Palestine. There's an attack on workers, and there's a trade war, which are going to affect longshoremen and others. What's the state of workers on May Day 2025?
Well, the state of the workers is that they're very concerned about Trump's policies about tariffs, because tariffs mean that trade is going to be cut back, and it's already starting to happen. So that's a big issue. But even bigger than that is this hiring hall, because Trump already attacked the federal workers and has laid off hundreds of thousands. And this should be seen as an attack against the entire labor movement, but that's not the response coming from the AFL-CIO. We need to start mobilizing people. It's not just firing federal workers. He's taking away bargaining rights for the trade unions. So this is a direct attack. And if the labor movement doesn't wake up, we're going to be faced with the same thing that happened when PATCO workers were all fired in 1981 under Reagan. And no union came to the aid of the fired PATCO worker, federal workers back then. And the labor movement paid for it consequentially.
Well, the AFL-CIO, they say that they're against the trade war, but you have Sean Fain of the UAW supporting the trade war. You have Sean Bryan of the Teamsters supporting the trade war. What's going on?
Well, the truth of the matter is that the trade union bureaucracy has always been the transmission belt for capitalist ideology within the trade union movement. And even sort of liberal or progressive types like Sean Fain of the UAW is going along now with the Trump administration's policies on tariffs, thinking that's going to make more jobs for auto workers, but it's actually going to mean higher prices, and it'll take years to set up factories again. There's not going to be any benefits for the working class. And part of the problem is that some of the trade union bureaucrats, not even the liberal or progressive types, but the conservative ones, like the ILA on the East Coast, actually supported Trump. And that's a big problem. Workers, and Anthony LaVage from the Clerks Union said this years ago at one of the pro-Palestinian demonstrations in the port. He said, one-day actions like this are important, but they're not consequential. We need something larger than that on a political sense. Workers need to have their own political party, a workers' party. And that's what we're faced with today, because there are a lot of protests going on right now, hands off and other trade union actions. But if we don't come together on a political basis and the unions just defer to the Democratic Party, that will be a death knell for the labor movement.
Well, weren't the Democrats and Republicans together in favor of NAFTA, in favor of outsourcing of industrial jobs in the United States to South and then Mexico and now Asia?
Yeah, well, that began with the Trump administration. Excuse me, Trump. I mean the Clinton. No, Clinton. Bill Clinton, and he got elected saying he's going to oppose NAFTA. And as soon as he got elected, he went pushing NAFTA. And guess who was the lead proponent of NAFTA? It was Biden. Biden, on the deck of the Senate, pushed NAFTA through on a fast-track basis. And this is really the consequence of what happens when the two capitalist parties work together, and it devastated the industrial base in the Midwest. And it's the reason that right now Trump got elected to a large part. Workers were disillusioned with the friends of labor, the Democratic Party. They're always our friends at election time, and then when they get in office, they do the work of the capitalists, the bosses.
And the racism that's being whipped up in this country against Latinos, against blacks, Haitians are being kicked out. I mean, it seems that there's a massive increase. Oakland trying to get rid of the history of the black people in this country and the Latinos.
Well,
is that fascism?
Yeah, I mean, this country's been a racist country for a long time, going back to before the Civil War. And that's why we had the Civil War. And the big issue right now, and it's displayed on our banner inside the hall, is we have to stop the deportations. The labor movement's got to mobilize behind that central demand, because immigrant workers are part of the American working class. And as our slogan says, an injury to one is an injury to all. If we allow the government and the employers to attack immigrant workers, it's going to be an attack on the entire labor movement, and we'll pay the consequences. The first president of the ILWU, who was one of the leaders of the 1934 maritime strike, Harry Bridges, was an immigrant worker. They tried to deport him 4 times, saying he's a communist, and each time they were defeated. Finally, because they knew there'd be a strike on the West Coast, every port would have been shut down if they deported that immigrant leader. We need to defend the immigrants today. We need labor movement needs to mobilize for the immigrant workers, and that's one of the central issues before the working class.
Oakland is here. The world is here. I want to rewind your mind a little bit. 2008, November 4th, Barack Obama was elected. The police made a presence across the country because they didn't want riots. On the next day, I was pulled over for driving while black here in Oakland. Also around that time, the rioters case, 119 men being beat up, being murdered, being wrongly accused and convicted. Right here in Oakland, one of the police persons is still a fugitive to this day. The rioters case, you can look it up. Now, I am the nephew of Huey P. Newton. If you didn't know, Huey P. Newton was asked in an interview by Ann Fraser. She said, "Huey, you scared people." Huey's response was, anytime a black man stands up, they scare people. So to that, I say thank you. When you came out on the 99% shut that port down, and stop that warship going to Palestine, you scare people. We stand in solidarity with our brothers and sisters. Our brother Jack Haven in the building stood up in apartheid. He scared people. That's right. We scare people on this day. We won't continue to scare people until we have a rightful government.